Tenbai Academy accepts students endowed with a unique power called Makin. Among them is Takeru, who dreams of a co-ed educational experience, seeking refuge from the all-boys middle school monotony. Opting for this recently co-ed institution, previously an all-girls school, Takeru anticipates a fresh start. His childhood friend, Haruko Ayama, a second-year student and vice president of the Student Council Security Division, decides to reunite with him after a prolonged separation. Upon their arrival, Haruko leaves to attend entrance ceremony preparations, leaving Takeru to head to the gym where the ceremony is scheduled. There, he unexpectedly witnesses a fierce clash between two second-year students, Konoha and Adzuki, evoking a surreal sense of disbelief. Additionally, he notices another girl named Himegami perched on a tree nearby. As the ceremony commences, Principal Minori emphasizes the importance of mastering one of the 8 Makin, each corresponding to a specific element. The principal asserts that those who can control their respective Makin will undoubtedly secure a promising future. Takeru struggles to comprehend Principal Minori's explanation about Makin and their corresponding elements. Sensing the confusion, Minori decides to illustrate the concept and assigns Kinua and Azuki for a demonstration. However, their prior conflict turns into playful teasing, prompting Minori to select another participant. Himegami volunteers, and surprisingly, she chooses Takeru as her sparring partner. Initially reluctant, Takeru succumbs to peer pressure and accepts the challenge. Before commencing, Himegami confides that it's a staged fight. Yet unbeknownst to Takeru, she has plans involving a Shikigami named Ikazuchi. As the staged fight unfolds, everything appears convincing until Himegami deploys Ikazuchi. Just as Takeru is about to intervene, a mysterious woman steps forward, wielding one of the 8 Makin. Unexpectedly, she weakens and collapses onto Takeru. Upon regaining consciousness, she embraces Takeru, prompting him to approach and inquire about her identity. Inaho introduces herself as Takeru's protector and claims to be his fiancé from that day forward. After classes, Haruko visits Takeru's room to inquire about Inaho's declaration, only to be taken aback when she discovers Inaho is already present. To Takeru's surprise, he learns that they will be sharing the room, and the principal has granted approval due to its size. Adding to the unexpected turn of events, Himegami also joins Takeru in the room. Simultaneously, a jealous Haruko decides to move in with them as well, creating an unexpected living arrangement that takes everyone by surprise. The following day, the 4 of them rushed to school to avoid being late. While the 3 girls managed to reach the gate on time, it became apparent that Takeru was running behind. Witnessing his predicament, Himegami utilized Kagutsuchi to assist him in making it to the gate on time. Upon arriving at school, Takeru and Inaho faced curious stares from their classmates due to the events of the entrance ceremony. As the day progressed, their homeroom teacher, Tamika, informed the class about an upcoming physical checkup, with the girls scheduled to go first. Sensing the potential implications, Takeru and his classmate Kengo quickly concocted a plan to feign stomach pain and obtain permission to use the bathroom. In their haste, Takeru and Kengo retreated to the back of the infirmary to catch a glimpse of the girls undergoing the physical checkup, climbing a tree for a better vantage point. They soon realized that they weren't the only ones with this idea. Unbeknownst to them, Himegami was perched just above them, fully aware of their intentions. In response to the boys' attempt to sneak a peek, Himegami swiftly dispenses punishment with a strong kick, leaving them frightened and hastening their retreat to their room. Kagutsuchi, concerned about Himegami's potential anger towards Takeru, is reassured when she expresses a lack of the same intense animosity she felt before. Shortly thereafter, the male students undergo the physical checkup, finding themselves captivated by the presence of the beautiful school nurse, Aki, who is in charge of the examinations. When it's Takeru's turn, a peculiar machine reveals that he's an anomaly at Tenbai, as no Makin can be matched to him. This leaves him vulnerable in potential duels. But Inaho vows to protect him. Minori and Makin creator Gen Takayashi express concern over Takeru's inability to be matched with a Makin, raising questions about his preparedness for any confrontations. Takeru, meanwhile, expresses an interest in joining the pin-up girl photo club, but Haruko intervenes, suggesting he consider the security committee instead. The following morning, tension arises as Azuki engages in a skirmish with a first-year named Kai. Kai boldly declares that if he wins the fight, Azuki must agree to be his girlfriend. As the confrontation unfolds, Azuki attempts to strike Kai in the face, but her blouse fails to bring him down. Kai launches a relentless series of attacks, making it challenging for Azuki to counter effectively. Witnessing the unequal contest, Takeru, unable to tolerate a man causing harm to a woman, is on the verge of intervening. The girls, however, swiftly intervene to prevent his interference. Undeterred, Takeru's determination intensifies, and he suddenly finds newfound strength, managing to break free and block Kai's attack just in the nick of time. Despite successfully halting the assault, the force of Kai's powerful attack still propels Takeru away. In a pivotal moment, Azuki seizes the opportunity to target Kai's unguarded mouth, as he had not reinforced it with his Makin. The swift attack renders Kai unconscious, and Azuki, appreciative of Takeru's intervention, approaches him to express her gratitude. However, Haruko chastises Takeru for his impulsive actions. Undeterred, Takeru defends his stance, acknowledging the strength of the girls in their school but expressing a desire for fair fights. Haruko enlightens him about the role of the Kenkebu, emphasizing that ensuring fair fights is their responsibility. Motivated by this revelation, Takeru decides to join the Kenkebu. Several hours later, Himegami reflects on Takeru's defense against Kai's attack, sensing a strength that surprises her. Inspired by Takeru's decision, Kengo also opts to join the Kenkebu. To celebrate the new members, the club organizes a welcome party at the hot spring. In attendance are not only the Kenkebu members but also the female members of the student council, collectively known as the Madu Kenkebu. The hot spring gathering marks the beginning of camaraderie among the club members. As new members, they engage in diverse training sessions, with the student council president, Takaki, and the treasurer, Yuuka, taking the lead in teaching them to understand Makin more quickly. Following this, they undergo rigorous training under Himegami, leaving Takeru's body sore by nightfall. Feeling Takeru's discomfort, Inaho offers to give him a massage. However, Haruko, fueled by jealousy, joins in to assist with the massage. Unbeknownst to them, Himegami observes, pondering the origin of Takeru's strength during the clash with Kai. Seeking confirmation, she approaches Takeru and asks him out on a date. The next day, Takeru and Himegami meet in a square, unaware that Haruko and Inaho are discreetly following them. As they explore a market, Himegami is drawn to various items in the stores and ends up making Takeru the carrier of her purchases. While trying on clothes, she finds herself wondering why Takeru smells like his older brother. The date raises questions and piques curiosity among the onlookers. As they decided to eat, they were surprised to find Azuki working at the cafe. Unprepared for Takeru's company with Himegami, Azuki felt embarrassed and cautioned Takeru against revealing her job to others. After their meal, they savored the scenic view by the river. It was during this moment that Himegami realized she had been enjoying herself and momentarily forgot her original purpose with Takeru. This realization prompted her to take action, compelling her to check the mark on Takeru's chest. Suddenly, 3 men emerged, introducing themselves as members of the Himegami fan club. Similar to Haruko and Inaho, they had been discreetly following the group. Annoyed by their presence, Himegami summoned her Shikigami to toss them into the river. However, a new challenger appears, challenging her to a fight. This man, armed with a Makin blade named Snake, swiftly attacked, only for Himegami to effortlessly evade his strikes, believing the man to be from the Kamigari. He clarified that he was not yet an official member but hoped to join by defeating Himegami. As the man attacked again, Himegami effortlessly blocked his strikes, but Takeru, unfortunately, took a hit. This unexpected blow disrupted Himegami's focus, leaving them vulnerable to the enemy's subsequent attack. The impact sent them tumbling into the river, where an accidental kiss occurred amidst the chaos. Emerging from the water, a change in Takeru is immediately noticed by Haruko and the others. When the enemy makes another assault, Takeru surprises everyone by effortlessly countering with a powerful kick. As he retaliates, the mysterious mark reappears on his chest. Observing this, Himegami has a revelation. Takeru and her older brother share the same ability. However, Takeru is perplexed, unable to recall his actions. Approaching him, Himegami informs him that he saved her during the encounter. The revelation adds another layer of mystery to Takeru's abilities and connections to Himegami's past. One day, the student council became aware of random attacks on some students. Takeru and Yurachi were tasked with investigating the incident since the victims couldn't recall what happened after regaining consciousness. After a few hours of gathering information, Takeru's stomach interrupted their progress with its rumbling. Yurachi, noticing his hunger, offered him a snack during their break. After finishing his snack, Takeru excused himself briefly to get some water. While at the water source, a woman approached him, expressing a desire to discuss the attacks on the students. Claiming to know who Takeru was searching for, she gained his immediate trust. However, as Takeru mentioned his name, the woman revealed her true intentions by unleashing her Makin. The unexpected turn of events raises questions about the true nature of the attacks and the identity of the mysterious perpetrator. In a state of shock, Takeru found himself immobilized within the spiderweb territory created by the woman. As the assailant prepared to strike, Yurachi intervened just in time. Utilizing her Makin, Yurachi launched a series of attacks against the woman. However, when Takeru mentioned her name, both he and Yurachi became ensnared in the trap, rendering them unable to move. It became evident that this woman was the perpetrator behind the attacks on the students. The enemy directed their aggression toward Yurachi, prompting Takeru to consider seeking assistance. However, Yurechi quickly dissuaded him, not wanting to alert their other colleagues. Meanwhile, Haruko grew concerned as there was no communication from Takeru and Yurechi. The lack of contact heightened the sense of urgency, leading to suspicions that the two might be in trouble. The unfolding situation adds tension and mystery to the investigation. Haruko, upon realizing that Takeru and Yurechi were in danger, immediately sprang into action to locate them. As the enemy launched another attack, Yurechi attempted to block it, providing a clue to Haruko about their whereabouts. Kimi joined the effort, and Haruko sought her help to guide her to the place where she had seen the light. With Kimi's assistance, Haruko swiftly reached Takeru's location. However, the enemy, now aware of Haruko's name, attempted to capture her as well. Despite the powerful force of her Makin, it proved ineffective against Haruko. Seeking answers, Haruko questioned the woman about her motives for the attacks. In a moment of clarity, the woman recalled individuals who had caused her distress. It was revealed that her purpose was to challenge the high officials of the Mad Kenke Kiko, and she had devised a method to fulfill her wish through these attacks. Unsatisfied with the enemy's response, Haruko resolved to take matters into her own hands. She unleashed her Makin, the Murakumi, one of the 8 powerful Makin and considered the most destructive among them. Haruko skillfully disabled the opponent's Makin power. Undeterred, the enemy launched another attack, but Haruko effortlessly dismantled her Makin and retaliated with precision. Back at the school, other members, including Himegami, expressed concern for Takeru. However, Himegami reassured them, stating that Haruko was on the scene and there was no need to worry. She asserted that nobody in the entire school could match up against Haruko. Meanwhile, Otohime uncovered the truth about the controlled student, bringing a new layer of understanding to the situation. Haruko's formidable strength and skill in the face of danger underscore the confidence the group has in her ability. The next morning, during class, Inaho dozed off and found herself in a dream recalling an event from 8 years ago during her training. Takeru approached her in the dream, marking the first time they met. As she woke up, Takeru informed her that their elemental self-practice class was about to begin. Being the only girl remaining in their room, she left to get dressed. In the class, Inaho marveled at Takeru's ability to control the fog inside a glass ball. Yurechi remarked that such a feat was easy for Haruko. The discussion shifted to Haruko's recent actions, and Kengo revealed that the girl Haruko defeated had lost her memory after the encounter. Minori interrupted the conversation by calling Kai to demonstrate the practical use of what they were studying. She assured the class that, by following her instructions correctly, they could perform the technique even without a Makin. The revelation opened up new possibilities for the students, emphasizing the importance of skill and technique in addition to Makin ability. When Inaho used the technique, Kai was forcefully thrown back by its extreme power. Fortunately, Kai managed to activate his Makin in time, protecting himself from the impact. Later in the afternoon, as Takeru prepared to leave, Haruko requested a favor for him to go shopping as she still had some tasks to finish at the student council office. Spotting Inaho, Takeru invited her to join him. Inaho readily agreed, as she also needed to buy snacks. While walking towards the dormitory, they decided to take a break in the square. The rain persisted, and Inaho noted that it was also raining on the day of her dream. Takeru, still unable to recall their first meeting, was puzzled by her remark. Despite Inaho's attempts to drop hints, Takeru remained unable to remember. Frustrated, Inaho decided not to dwell on the past and chose not to remind Takeru further about their initial encounter. After a while, Takeru decided it was time to head home due to the intensifying rain. Inaho, feeling a sense of sadness after their conversation, allowed him to go home first. A few minutes later, Kengo spotted Inaho heading towards the mountains. Meanwhile, Inaho encountered a cat and decided to take it with her. When Haruko arrived at the dormitory, she became concerned upon learning that Takeru had left Inaho alone. Aware of the conversation, Himegami stepped out of the room to reprimand Takeru. She acknowledged not knowing much about Takeru and Inaho's past but emphasized that he should value Inaho's feelings for him. The situation highlights the complex emotions and relationships among the characters, adding depth to their interactions. Moved by Himegami's words, Takeru decided to search for Inaho. Outside the dormitory, he encountered Kengo, who informed him of Inaho's destination. A few minutes later, as Inaho conversed with the cat, she heard Takeru's voice calling her. However, the cat fled, and as it ran, a large stone tumbled toward it, swiftly drawing on what he had learned earlier. Takeru managed to save the cat from the falling stone. However, the danger wasn't over as more rocks began to fall. Inaho, quick to react, sprang into action to protect them. Once the immediate threat subsided, Takeru found Inaho collapsed and unconscious. In response, Takeru decided to carry her on his back as they made their way back to the dormitory, bringing the rescued cat with them. One day, members of Venus arrived at Tenbai Academy on the orders of Kamigari. As Jen prepared to give Takeru his Makin, the sound of a helicopter carrying the Venus members interrupted the moment. Jen, already aware of their arrival, hastily left to meet with Minori. Leading Venus was Akaya, accompanied by Demetra, Cilia, Yongming, and the twins Ailalu and Finian. Upon facing Minori in her office, she recalled that Kamigari had informed her about the Venus members being exchange students. However, Minori was surprised to see Akaya among them. Akaya explained that Kamigari believed there was a Tenbai student who wished to return the Yamada no Orachi. Over the past 2 years, Venus had observed a significant abnormality in Aminohara, leading them to believe that a god's beast resided within Tenbai Academy. A few moments later, Jen arrived with Aki and Takaki, accompanied by Takaki's group. The atmosphere grew charged as they learned that they were in the presence of the first generation of Makin Kai. Akaya, upon seeing Takaki, left her to handle the members of Venus. In the Kenkebu office, Yuka informed everyone that Venus would be assisting with Makin Kai tasks until summer break. The members of Venus then introduced themselves one by one. When it was Cilia's turn to speak about herself, Kengo felt a sense of familiarity with the woman. Yongming, during her introduction, dismissed the need to introduce herself to the weak. Azuki, displeased by Yongming's comment, challenged her to a fight. Science direct fights were prohibited among Makin Kai members. They opted for a game and settled on a volleyball match with 3 members on each team. As the game progressed, both teams were determined to win, adding points to their scores. However, when Yongming and her teammates decided to use their Makin abilities, tension escalated. The volleyball match turned into a spectacle of Makin powers, with Azuki challenging Yongming and Demetra becoming serious in the game. Haruko unleashed her Murakumi in response to Demetra's attack, resulting in a clash of Makin powers that nearly destroyed the entire gym. Meanwhile, Takeru appeared to cover Cilia, giving her the impression that he was protecting her. Unable to determine a clear winner, they ultimately agreed to acknowledge each other's strength, recognizing the formidable abilities possessed by both Makin Kai and Venus members. The following day, the Venus members officially began attending classes at Tenbai Academy. Cilia, one of the Venus members, was placed in Takeru's class, revealing that she was a renowned performer. Impressed by what she perceived as a heroic action, she started to develop admiration for Takeru. Meanwhile, the twins joined Hamgami's class, Yongming attended Azuki's class, and Demetra was assigned to Haruko's class. Soon after their introduction, Cilia expressed her desire to date Takeru, and her colleagues supported the idea. That night, they began planning for the upcoming date, anticipating interference from the 3 girls who were often with Takeru. Demetra was assigned the mission of keeping the 3 girls away from Takeru during the planned date. The next morning, when Takeru entered their room, he was surprised to discover a love letter under his desk, setting the stage for the unfolding romantic developments. Intrigued by the love letter, Takeru discreetly hid it to prevent Kengo from seeing it. During their lunch break, he headed to the restroom to read the letter in private. Unbeknownst to him, Kengo was in the adjacent cubicle, eavesdropping on Takeru's actions. Realizing the significance of what he heard, Kengo promptly reported it to Haruko and Hamgami as they discussed the mysterious love letter. The absence of a sender's name puzzled them. Soon after, Takaki arrived with information about tables piled behind the clock tower. She tasked Haruko and Hamgami with investigating the situation, diverting their attention from the love letter mystery to another unexpected incident on the campus grounds. In the afternoon, after their class, Inaho intended to invite Takeru to walk home together, but he was nowhere to be found. Kengo suspected that Takeru might have gone to the location mentioned in the love letter, and his suspicion proved correct. Inaho searched for Takeru and discovered paper bags filled with snacks. In the distance, she spotted a stuffed toy resembling Takeru, leading her to believe that he was the one who had prepared the snacks. Unbeknownst to her, the twins orchestrated this to prevent her from becoming an obstacle between Takeru and Cilia. While Takeru waited, he questioned why the person who wrote the letter hadn't arrived yet. He entertained the thought that Kengo might be playing a prank on him. However, Cilia eventually appeared, revealing herself as the author of the love letter. They decided to go on a date, and as they enjoyed a snack, their presence drew the attention of onlookers due to Cilia's beauty. Shortly after, she led Takeru to a large house, all while Haruko and Hamgami were investigating the tables piled up in front of the clock tower, unaware of the events unfolding elsewhere on campus. As Haruko and Hamgami investigated the piled-up tables, Hamgami sensed that someone was watching them. It was revealed that Yongming was the one responsible for the tables and had orchestrated the situation to lure them there. Hamgami quickly deduced Yongming's intentions. In the meantime, Inaho arrived carrying the stuffed toy and wondered why Takeru, who was behind her, had been silent. Haruko clarified to Inaho that she was only carrying a stuffed toy, leading Inaho to notice the absence of Takeru's voice. Himegami, armed with information obtained from her Shikigami, discovered Yongming's plan and learned about Takeru and Celia's intended destination for their date. Haruko and Inaho, realizing the urgency, hurried to the location while Himegami stayed to confront Yongming. Encountering Demetra along the way, she attempted to impede their progress, but Haruko and Inaho managed to surpass her. Upon reaching the house where Takeru was taken, Inaho used her Makin to break down the door, revealing Takeru quietly watching Celia as she sang and danced. One day, while Takeru and Kengo were relaxing under a tree, Takeru noticed a woman by the window. Intrigued, Kengo attempted to check his list, but the woman was not on it. Takaki informed Haruko about the arrival of another Venus member, prompting them to search for this new addition. To their surprise, a voice interrupted their conversation. As Takeru and Kengo tried to locate the girl they had seen earlier, they were unsuccessful in finding her. Unbeknownst to them, the girl was already on the rooftop with Haruko. This girl was revealed to be the new Venus member named Minerva, as mentioned by Takaki. Meanwhile, Takeru passed by two students teasing each other, with one of them being Otoheim. The two students decided to engage in a fight and enlisted Takeru as their witness. Unable to refuse, Takeru instructed Kengo to inform Kenkebu. As the fight began, the man initiated the attack and successfully grabbed Otoheim. However, Otoheim managed to provoke him, further fueling his frustration. When he launched another attack, he fell victim to Otoheim's Makin, rendering him immobile. According to Otoheim's twin, Gauken, she had emerged victorious. As Otoheim began to break her opponent's arm, Takeru intervened to stop the escalating violence. Surprisingly, Otoheim then placed Takeru inside her Makin, a dollhouse. Despite being confined, Takeru retained the ability to move within her Makin and attempted to approach Otoheim. In response, she squeezed the doll representing herself. Minerva suddenly appeared, causing Otoheim's Makin to cease its effects. Akaya also arrived, revealing that he and Otoheim knew each other, as she was the granddaughter of the Kamari chief. Otoheim decided to leave, and she and Gauken departed from the area. After Minerva provided first aid to the man who had fought against Otoheim, she introduced herself to Takeru, further deepening the intricacies of the relationships within the story. The next day, Takeru was summoned by Takaki to discuss his involvement in the previous fight. Aware that he had not yet passed the element exam, Takaki instructed him to pass it, emphasizing that failure could result in his removal from the Kenkebu. In the afternoon, Kengo accompanied Takeru for practice in controlling his element, continuing until it grew dark. After repeated attempts, Takeru successfully mastered the required formula. When asked if he was also responsible for the mark carved on the tree, Takeru was unaware of doing it. Himegami, not far away, sensed the presence of others besides Takeru and Kengo. It turned out to be Minerva, who had been observing Himegami for a while. Minerva surprised Himegami by revealing her ability to see Shikigami and uncovering what Himegami was hiding. Minerva disclosed their mission to bring Himegami to the Kamigari before she broke the seal of the Amin Ohara. Despite attacks from Kagetsuchi and Ikazuchi, Minerva easily evaded them. As Himegami prepared for a fight, Minerva stated that they were also assigned to observe the Tenmai students, specifically noting Takeru, who shared similar spiritual waves with Himegami. Minerva mentioned the possibility of bringing Takeru, but it was not an immediate plan. The following day, Takeru successfully passed his element exam, eliminating the threat of his removal from the Kenkebu. Just a few days later, Takeru was summoned to the principal's office for a discussion about his Makin. Minori explained that his Makin could only be activated once his opponent's Makin was activated. Additionally, he learned that his Makin had the ability to destroy the opponent's Makin. Later on, the Makin Kai members gathered for the upcoming summer training camp. Takaki informed them that due to a lack of funds, they would have to pay for the camp themselves. This posed challenges for some members, especially those with limited allowances. Upon leaving the office, they noticed Minori posting a maid cafe job opportunity on the bulletin board, where Azuki was already employed. Seeing an opportunity to earn money, they all decided to apply. As the Makin Kai members worked at the cafe, they were surprised by the long line of customers. Azuki, who was initially heading to work, discovered that her fellow Makin Kai members were already employed there. Unbeknownst to them, Otoheim had been observing them and had a plan to conduct a drug trial. Additionally, she wanted to witness Takeru's true strength. A few hours into their shift, a misunderstanding occurred, leading to Haruko's dissatisfaction, and she abruptly left the cafe. Initially, they believed that Haruko was okay, but as minutes passed without her return, Takeru decided to search for her. Seizing the opportunity, Otoheim targeted Haruko and orchestrated an attack. Haruko found herself under attack, leading her to release her Heaven's Gate, but the enemy managed to destroy it. The assailant persisted, prompting Haruko to deploy her Murakumo. Just in time, Takeru arrived and intervened, momentarily halting the enemy. However, due to the foe's strength, they easily evaded Takeru's efforts. Suddenly, Azuki arrived and launched a powerful attack, causing the enemy to lose consciousness. Minori also appeared, and when they removed the enemy's eye shield, they were astonished to discover that it was Goro, the owner of the cafe where they were employed. They discovered that Goro was being controlled by the Kamigari. Jin explained that a few years ago, the Kamigari attempted to take control of Tenbai Academy. Despite the students' use of Makin to defend themselves, many fell under the Kamigari's influence, including Goro. Takeru recalled the other students they had encountered who were similarly controlled by the Kamigari. While Otoheim's initial plan failed, she remained determined. Kikayo, one of their siblings, arrived at the behest of their grandfather and expressed her support for their cause and endeavors. The storyline continued with the unfolding conflict against the Kamigari and the challenges faced by the characters. The following morning, as Haruko prepared to enter school, an unforeseen event unfolded. She was abruptly abducted. Takeru and Hangami, upon reaching the Kenkebu office, were perplexed by Haruko's absence. Despite her earlier declaration of attending to matters at the student council office, she was nowhere to be found. Consequently, Takeru and Hangami embarked on a quest to locate Haruko. Hangami, however, cautioned Takeru against informing the other members to prevent unnecessary worry. Meanwhile, Haruko found herself in a disconcerting situation, encountering Otoheim, who appeared to be under the control of her own Makin. Simultaneously, during Takeru's search, he encountered Inaho, who offered him a protective charm. Inaho expressed her intention to provide him with the charm once she learned of the events from the previous day, emphasizing the ongoing commitment to her mission of safeguarding him, even during periods of physical separation. Jin found himself once again reminiscing about the days when they were part of Makin Kai, recalling the unwavering support they received from Takeru's father. Concerns lingered about Makin Kai's ongoing battle against the Kamigari, with Minori speculating that their teacher anticipated the conflict's continuation. This speculation, in turn, motivated him to send Takeru to Tenbai Academy. Takeru, guided by a woman's advice, learned that the key to saving Haruko lay in Aminohara. Upon reaching Aminohara, he encountered Kikayo, a member of the Kamigari. In a sudden and swift assault, Takeru found himself unable to evade Kikayo's attacks due to her remarkable speed. This confrontation triggered memories for Haruko, harking back to the day when Takeru's mother met her tragic fate, thrown onto a large stone adorned with a mark resembling the one on his chest. Takeru recalled his mother's teachings about true strength lying in the protection of others. Driven by this conviction, the Aminohara suddenly began to radiate light. Observing this, Hangami instructed Nazuchi to investigate the situation at Aminohara. Takeru, in the meantime, absorbed the gradually intensifying elements emanating from the sacred place. Kikayo speculated that this phenomenon might be the ominous energy associated with the sacred beast known as Yamada no Orochi. No longer in control of his senses, Takeru, after leaving the monumental rock, set off towards Tenbai Academy. Meanwhile, as Nazuchi approached Aminohara, she encountered Takeru in his altered state. After a while, Chacha and her friend noticed that someone was approaching them. When it got close to them, they were surprised that it was Takeru. He attacked them, but Hangami and Azuki came there to help the girls, and when he saw them, he immediately attacked them too. On the other hand, Otoheim was amazed while observing what Takeru was doing. A moment later, members of Venus suddenly came to Haruko in order to save her. They created a dimensional space so that she could get out of it and to save Takeru.